Hey little boys and girls, today I am going to read you a piece of a Russian fairy tale. Because you cannot translate it yourself, so I will read it to you. Today's fairy tale is called Alyonushka and her brother. Let's begin. Once upon a time there were two orphan children, a little boy and a little girl. Their father and mother were dead, and they had not even an old grandfather to spend his time in telling them stories. They were alone. The little boy was called Vanyushka, and the little girl's name was Alyonushka. They set out together to walk through the whole of the great wide world. It was a long journey they set out on, and they did not think of any end to it, but only of moving on, and never stopping long enough in one place to be unhappy there. They were traveling one day over a broad plain, padding along on their little bare feet. There were no trees on the plain, no bushes, open flat country as far as you could see, and the great sun up in the sky burning the grass and making their throats dry, and the sandy ground so hot that they could scarcely bear to set their feet on it. All day from early morning they had been walking, and the heat grew greater and greater towards noon. "Oh," said little Vanyushka, "my throat is so dry. I want a drink. I must have a drink, just a little drink of cool water." "We must go on," said Alyonushka, "till we come to a well. Then we will drink." They went on along the track with their eyes burning and their throats as dry as sand on a stove. But presently Vanyushka cried out joyfully. He saw a horse's hoof mark in the ground, and it was full of water like a little well. "Sister, sister," said he, "the horse has made a little well for me with his great hoof, and now we can have a drink. And oh, but I'm so thirsty." "Not yet, brother," said Alyonushka. "If you drink from the hoof mark of a horse, you will turn into a little fool, and that would never do." "I'm so very thirsty," said Vanyushka, but he did as his sister told him, and they walked on together under the burning sun. A little further on, Vanyushka saw the hoof mark of a cow, and there was water in it, glittering in the sun. "Sister, sister," said Vanyushka, "the cow has made a little well for me, and now I can have a drink." "Not yet, brother," said Alyonushka. "If you drink from the hoof mark of a cow, you will turn into a little calf, and that would never do. We must go on till we come to a well. There will be drink and rest ourselves. There will be trees by the well and shadows, and we will lie down there by the quiet water and cool our hands and feet, and perhaps our eyes will stop burning." So they went on further along, and track that scorched the bare soles of their feet, and under the sun that burned their heads and their little bare necks. The sun was high in the sky above them, and it seemed to Vanyushka that they could never come to the well. But when they had walked on, and he nearly crying with thirst, only that the sun had dried up all his tears and burned them before they had time to come into his eyes, he saw another footprint. It was quite a tiny footprint divided in the middle, the footprint of a sheep, and in it was a little drop of clear water sparkling in the sun. He said nothing to his sister, nothing at all, but he went down on his hands and knees and drank the water, that little drop of clear water, to cool his burning throat. And he had no sooner drunk than he had turned into a little lamp. Alyonushka looked around for her brother, but could not see him. But there was the little lamp leaping around her, trying to lick her face, and there in the ground was the print left by the sheep's foot. She guessed at once what had happened and burst into tears. There was a herrick close by, and under the herrick Alyonushka sat down and wept. The little lamb, seeing her so sad, stood gravely in front of her, but not for long, for he was a little lamb, and he could not help himself. However sad he felt, he had no leap and frisk in the sun, and tossed his little white tail. Presently, a fine gentleman came riding by on his big black horse. He stopped when he came by the herrick. He was very much surprised at seeing a beautiful little girl sitting there, crying her eyes out, while a white lamb frisked this way and that way, and placed before her, and now and then ran up to her and licked the tears from her face with a little pink tongue. "What is your name?" said the fine gentleman, "and why are you in trouble? Perhaps I may be able to help you." "My name is Alyonushka, and this is my little brother Vanyushka, whom I love." And she told him the whole story. And the rest of the story I will read you a little bit later, maybe this evening. If you liked it, then put comment on it and put your little heart. Thank you for your attention.